It all started on August 22nd, 2013. I had gone to Germany just for a couple days for a work meeting, came back and felt dizzy and really didn't know what was going on. Thought I had a flu or something going on because I was sick as I went over there. But as the week went on, that vertigo, dizziness didn't go away, and really almost immediately with that started having headaches, which never had a headache before. The vertigo and everything would keep on going, and then like the migraines and everything just continued to get worse and worse. Eventually diagnosed with labyrinthitis, which is, there's some type of damage in my inner ear. Had treatment for that probably after about 4 or 5 months, figured out what it was. That eventually got better over time, doing exercises. The migraines, though, just continued to get worse and worse. I'd gone to so many doctors probably after the year, and I started feeling better with some of the vertigo issues, and it's just like then concentrated on the migraines. It would kind of just go on and on. I continued to work, but it was starting to hamper really everything. I mean, if you have a headache just 24/7, there's not a lot of things you can do. And then in 2016, for whatever reason, it went to another level where I had problems sleeping. I don't know if I slept for 3 or 4 months, if it felt like it. I think you eventually fall asleep, but it was just a constant migraine. It was all the time. So really started looking at that. At that point, you're just trying to get through the day, trying to give yourself reasons to go on. So, I think I went to, over those 3 years, a doctor every couple months. At that point, it was really trying to find anything. So, I was going to a different doctor probably weekly. End up going to Mayo either late July or beginning of August of 2016. And that's when, they kind of went through the same test, all the neurologists, probably the 5th or 6th neurologist I had seen at that point. I had been on really all the medications. You're really a expert on migraines. So, when they say, of course, oh, you should take magnesium, and it's just like these things that you've been doing for years and been looking up, it's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not going to work. Vitamins, other things I've tried. I have anything that was type of a migraine medication I had tried at some point. Just really had real problems with the after effects on all of them. All this happened a little bit after I turned 40. Never had a headache for 40 years. I'd take lots of walks just because movement would help. About the only time I was halfway comfortable was just moving. And then it's just like, how long can I continue to do this? I know something was wrong, and just by treating the symptoms, it wasn't going in. And that's actually around the end of August. My wife had mentioned TMJ, didn't really dismiss it, but really hadn't thought about it because it was just like, well, I had the trip to Mayo coming up, and just like, there's got to be something else going on, with the labyrinthitis. And that's when looked at a couple different sites, and yours came up. And it was local, so it's, you're 20 minutes away. So that's something that, set up an appointment and kind of went through there. We were researching, just trying to be our own doctor at that point. We'd gone to other doctors, and I'm sure some of them cared and tried. It just, they weren't resolving it for my issue. There's only so long you can live in constant pain.
Good morning, Adam.
Good morning.
Main issue is migraines. Every day for the last 3 years, been dealing with a migraine. I haven't had a day where I have not had a headache. Some days it may be less. Other days it's constant. Last 3 months it has been just a constant migraine. Centered mainly on my right side, just right in this area.
Okay.
So feel that, and it eventually does spread. So it's just the tightening around my temples on either side. At times it can go up, but it is definitely centered right here. Many times it will come down, and I feel it through my eye, through my my ear, down just that side. I probably did not know where the Tylenol was. It's just something I never had, headaches, nothing at all. Even having a fairly stressful job, kids, a lot of things going on. Nothing really impacted me to where I had headaches. Stress does make them worse. I don't think anything would have caused me to get a headache since the headaches have been consistently there. Been to, I think, at least 3 NTs, otologists, 3 neurologists, beyond just primary. Well, it's been very unknown, quite frankly. I mean, a couple have put it back to the initial issue that I had with the vestibular area, and that tried to relate it back to whatever caused the issue of the inner ear may have triggered something that's causing the migraines. A lot of it is, medication to treat the symptoms, really nothing but more pushing for now. The past few months is to find out what the actual issue is opposed to just treating the symptoms. Normal is about 6 and 7. I mean, it is fairly consistent. 10 is almost daily. I mean, for the past 3 months, it is, I really try to limit my activity in some of the things because, I know if I stretch it too much, I start to do too much, and it's an immediate 10. But for the past 3 months, I have a period of day where it gets extremely high. Right now, I'm mainly working from home. I think if I go in, it's between probably 4 and 6 hours. Fortunately, job's working with me around this, but it's coming to the point of trying to find a solution, or it is looking at taking a break from work. Just having a number of knee surgeries has impacted my lower back. In the last 3 months, it's come back a little more. Switched from my left side, where I used to have the issues, to my right side, where really never had a lot of back pain previously. About the same. I mean, it got worse a little bit after, just because for a period of time I wasn't as physically active.
Because of the vertigo that you had?
Yeah. Working through that, I think I put on 20 pounds, probably got up to about 250. And at that point, say it was more of getting up in the morning, my back was more stiff. Usually worse in the morning. It can be like a 4 or 5. I think more when I did put on some weight. Used to have it where it would, I'd have some shooting pain and some kind of just tightness in that area. But a lot of it like where you would feel your back catch. Around 220, I don't have that as much. So now it's just more of an ache and a dullness. Just sitting down and getting up real quickly. I'd have times where we'd get a shock of pain for a few seconds, and you have to take that break, or I've had it where I've been picking something up, and you got to put whatever you have down pretty quickly. My right foot dealt with plantar fasciitis approximately around 2 years ago. I'd ordered a few things on Amazon to wear at night, some sleeves and some other things to help that. And finally, a little over a year ago, or probably starting about a year ago, went to a foot doctor, and then I think probably about 10 months ago got an orthotic and been wearing those since. It has improved, but still at periods of time it does get fairly sore. Yes, very good. The headaches, yes, very, very cool.
Morning, Adam.
Morning. Doing good. After basically about 12 days of having an orthotic in, headaches have been replaced just by muscle tension. I haven't had a real episode of a migraine, which was typical every day at some point. My forehead has been the most prominent, but also, early in the week through my ears popping, that's more or less stopped, and through my face, I think that's gotten better. Neck as well, just a lot of tension and tightness as opposed to just pain. About 20% better. It does change from when it's just pain, you can't quantify it, to now it is, this is muscle tension, muscle tightness. It's a lot different than just I'm in pain and nobody knows why. I really haven't had much to do with back pain. I haven't really noticed any at all. Even as mentioned, sleeping on an air mattress for a couple evenings and then coming back to, I have one of the Tempur-Pedic beds. Waking up this morning, I haven't really even thought about my back. About 50%. I can feel some of the nerves and things, but really no pain. I did notice walking around, I'm just like, well, this leg feels different. My right leg, which I have not had any issues with, was pointing in. It does feel like it's pointed straight. You know, my feet have been sore, but as far as, you know, that nerve pain on my heel has been less prevalent. For probably about a week, the jaw moving and getting that line was pretty evident every day. I mean, it's part of everything you're going through. And then I think the last few days, it's been not something I've really even noticed. It feels like that's where my jaw's supposed to be. I didn't put a lot of expectation in this. I mean, you know, even the day I came in on, I think it was the 14th, I was very miserable. So, I mean, it was just more of let's do this and go from there. And it's just, you know, going day to day. So, I mean, now it is more of looking at long term.
Good morning, Adam.
Good morning. Much better. So now really getting back to more of a normal life. I mean, I still have spells or kind of times where I won't feel as great, but for the most part, you know, back to working more or less full time in the office. You know, I don't even call them headaches anymore. I mean, I do have times where I may not feel good, have tension through some parts of my body as it's adjusting. Really reduce those headaches down to very few to none. Headache-wise, about 80-85% improvement. I mean, they're really down to minimal. You know, before treatment, when you would have those times, it was not go away for a long period of time. Now it's getting back to normal. Like when you do have that, there is kind of that release that happens in a relatively quick manner. Tying shoes and some of those things, I would always notice it. There'd be some tightness and stuff, and now past 6 months, you know, really haven't noticed anything. It's really 90-95% improvement. I mean,
Good.
it's kind of, you know.
That's huge.
If you've been doing a lot of, I mentioned a lot of the landscaping and some other things, a lot of these were fairly heavy things I was knocking around and really wouldn't have any back pain after. I do a lot of walking, trying to get back to lifting new weights, but I mean, it is kind of, everything feels pretty good through my core. There for a period of time, and I mean, it was very painful.
What percentage change have you noticed there?
Probably about 50-55%. As things changed, I still have a little bit of pain in that foot that's actually developed probably in a couple weeks. It's kind of moved. It's no longer centered definitely on that ligament before that was, you know, when you have the plantar fasciitis. I mean, it's that stinging. Now I just have some soreness in my foot. I wear some on some shoes, and then probably about 80% of my shoes are new. I don't wear. Left knee, really haven't had experienced any new issues.
Now you're putting more stress on them, but you're still getting by okay.
Yes.
In terms of being able to clearly think,
Yeah.
what percentage change have you noticed there?
Probably 50-60%. So I mean, it's been a big improvement in able to really dedicate time to some of the things I do work on. It's been a steady uptick of improvement.
Good morning, Adam.
Good morning. So like headaches from where I was like normal to, you know, really not thinking about it, I'm like 95%. The headaches are almost all gone. Really my back and my foot I haven't had issues with, so I mean it's really all the way gone, 100%. Yep. And I think some of the testing that we did really showed where that stress was, and it coincided and explained why I had that pain. Wearing the orthotic and just having that stressed where those stressors were. I remember having headaches before. I mean, it's kind of hard to relate back to after you live with a migraine for a long period of time, what people call a splitting headache, and I don't think I've really had anything along that lines for a while. Doctors can try what they can, but I'm like, at some point you are your own doctor. I mean, you have to find something that does work. You can only live in pain so long. You don't see people who are in constant pain living to 70 and 80. I was told multiple times about everybody said they could help you, and in many instances, well, the proofs, they can either help you or they can't. If you don't see some type of improvement, I mean, it's fairly certain that it's not helping. Remember when it first started to go, how is this in 2 years? And then it'd be 2 years later, and I'm just like, how am I doing this? How am I still going on? And just like, what's gonna be like in 2 more years? I mean, the kids were younger, they're now 11 and 8. So, I mean, we talk about, you know, if they remember a lot of that. The 11-year-old may remember some things, but for the most part, I mean, they've kind of, you know, just know me now, and it's just like, back to normal.
I'm so glad to hear you're doing well.
Me as well. My wife as well.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you.